when we come home in about a week.
Perfect.
That's all right. Spring and summer right around the corner.
That's the rumor anyway.
So Taveras, Hairston, and Botto against Ted Lilly. Cubs are in first along with St. Louis. And the first pitch is a called strike outside half of the plate, right at the knees. 0-1 on Taveras. He was 1 for 4 in the opener. The hit was an infield hit. Called strike 2. The curveball by Lilly. Former Cubs manager Dusty Baker has led his Reds to a 5-3 road trip. They're 7-6. And that sliced foul out of play. The Pirates beat the Marlins again. They swept them in Pittsburgh. So the Pirates are 9-6.
Break them up. Swept that series against Florida without their starting catcher Ryan Domit, who figures to miss 6 to 8 weeks.
Good start for Lilly as he fans Taveras. Showed you the numbers in the open. Ted last year did not beat the Reds. He lost all 4 starts, so he's looking for a little revenge here tonight.
I think if he uses the same approach against this entire lineup that he did against Willie Taveras, he'll have great success tonight. A lot of off-speed pitches, nibble around the edges of the strike zone, use your fastball sparingly, especially on the inside part of the plate to the righties. This backdoor slider for strike 1.
Jerry Hairston Jr. was acquired by the Cubs in the Sammy Sosa, Mike Fontenot deal. He's now a Red. 1-1.
You know, we didn't even get a chance to say it last night. Jerry Hairston pinch hit in the ball game last night. The second pitch he saw, he jerked foul down the third baseline with authority. Cub fans are very familiar with that particular foul ball down the left field line, so we'll keep an eye on Hairston tonight.
Jerry's been an Oriole, a Cub, a Ranger, and now a Red. No one outside. He was on the DL 3 times last year, but was terrific when he was healthy at 326.
Well, he's a valuable guy, Len. I mean, we know very well how versatile he is. As you mentioned, part of a platoon in left field this year, but he will see time at short, second, third, maybe center field.
And Ted really wanted that pitch and didn't get it. 3-1. Lilly trying to start a year 3-0 for the first time. That long, slow wind up. 3 balls, 2 strikes. .45 degrees as we got started. Really cooled off.
And you could tell during batting practice at that time of day, the third base side of the field is in the shade, the first base side's in the sun, and it felt very comfortable on the first base side of the field. It was chilly on the third base side.
Wind out of the northeast at 5. Up in the air near second for Ryan Theriot. I think the wind's going to blow out tomorrow. With the weather heating up, it hasn't officially blown out yet during the home schedule.
We've had a couple of crosswinds, including last night, blowing from left field over toward right field, really affected a lot of the balls that were hit into left center, and center field. And similar wind tonight, pretty much blowing straight in right now.
Joey Votto 5 for 13 with 2 homers against Lilly. 2 outs, nobody on. We just got started. Off the plate inside. couple of shutouts in the National League. Arizona blanked the Rockies 2-0. Giants got a run in the bottom of the 10th to beat the Padres 1-0. Ground rule double by Benji Molina, scoring Andres Torres to win it. And the 1-1 hit in the air down the left field line, and it'll find the seats.
We mentioned that Diamondbacks game. Dan Herron, winning pitcher in that game. He was 0-3 with a 1.89 ERA before picking up the victory in the game today.
7 shutout innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts for Dan Herron. Now 1-3. With a 1.38. Lovato with a very defensive swing on that curveball, and he'll be thrown out by Aramis Ramirez. Cubs are coming up against hard-throwing Johnny Cueto. Back in the lineup for the first time since the 12th of April. It's Aramis Ramirez at third, Giovanni Soto catching, bottom 3 of Terrio, Miles, and Lilly. Ryan Terrio leading the National League in batting at .409.
What are you throwing first pitch, Len?
Would throw him a fastball down the middle. Johnny Cueto. Fly to deep right. And back on the track is Bruce, and he caught it. It was a fastball, and it was out over the plate. Bruce got twisted around and right, but he had just enough room.
Well, he gave that ball a ride. No wind. It's probably up into the basket. That's right down Main Street and low where Soriano likes it. Gave it a ride, but Jay Bruce able to stay with it and make the play.
Might have been a home run last night with the win.
The reason I ask, I checked with Nao Masamoto, who is the video coordinator for the Cubs, and I had him go back through all of Soriano's at-bats leading off a game this year, whether it's top of the first inning on the road or the bottom of the first at home. And counting tonight, 13 at-bats to start a ball game. He's seen 11 fastballs. That is shocking to me. 1 slider, 1 changeup, 11 fastballs.
Do you think that is because a pitcher feels, especially early on, that's the one pitch he can control the best? Why hang a slider or a curveball on the first pitch of the game?
I'm not sure the reason. I mean, a well-located fastball is fine, but if you try to throw it for a strike, especially down in the strike zone, knowing how aggressive Soriano is going to be, you could find yourself looking at a deficit after 1 pitch.
Meanwhile, 2-2 on Kosuke.
I think all starting pitchers want to establish their fastball early in the game, and the fact that they can command it on both sides of the plate. But I think sometimes the opposing hitter in the batter's box will tell you that that's not the best plan of attack.
The 3-2 from Cueto is hit foul. Johnny Cueto is only 23, 5'10", 201 pounds. From San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. A hotbed of baseball talent throughout the years. And a base hit for Fukudome, first base runner. His .357 average will go up.
Take a look at the Reds defensively, brought to you by Home Depot. Jerry Hairston Jr. in left, Willie Taveras in center. Jay Bruce already had some action out in right field. Edwin Encarnacion, Alex Gonzalez on the left side of the infield. Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto on the right side. Ramon Hernandez doing the catching tonight for right-hander Johnny Cueto. Throws a fastball, a slider, a changeup. Fastball will sit in the low 90s. Tendency to get a little overexcited out there on the mound, especially on 2 strike counts. He wants to go for those strikeouts.
Well, now in 11 innings on the season, he has 12 strikeouts, so he misses bats, but he's also walked 7, and he's 1-1 on Derek Lee.
And throughout his very short career, he tends to hit a wall right around the 75 pitch mark, mostly because he's a maximum effort guy. He really puts a lot of energy into every pitch he delivers and starts to run out of gas right around the 70 to 75 pitch mark.
Base hit past Gonzalez and into left. Back-to-back singles. Setting it up for Milton Bradley.
Number 21, Milton Bradley.
Bradley's first home start. The groin injury happened on the final game of the first road trip in Milwaukee. He's been used as a pinch hitter. He has 1 hit. It was a home run on the road. He has never homered here at Wrigley Field, and he hits it foul. He did receive a 2-game suspension after he got ejected for aggressively arguing balls and strikes and making contact with Larry Vanover on Thursday, but he has appealed. Well, the Cubs took extra batting practice today, and I'll tell you, just about the whole team participated. They haven't had a lot of chances with the weather.
You can hit the cage all you want, but it just doesn't feel the same as when you can get out there in that batter's box and see where the line drives off your bat end up. You can drive yourself crazy hitting in those cages, but it's always good to get out on the field. Watch that ball come down in the outfield grass or in the bleachers. Much better tune-up for a ball game.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. I don't know how warm those hats are, but they're stylish. Got him. Called strike 3 and a fastball. And the first punch out for Cueto. No argument for Bradley. That was a really good pitch.
Center cut fastball right there. Milton obviously looking for something else from Johnny Cueto. Just heads on back to that third base dugout. Here comes the RBI machine, Aramis Ramirez.
3 hits, 3 RBIs last night. And the 2 run-scoring singles went the other way. Talked about it in the open.
Yeah, one on a slider off the plate away from a right-handed pitcher, and then Daniel Herrera, a lefty, that threw a screwball probably off the plate down low and away, and Ramirez lined that one into right field.
Some roster news coming up in the second inning. We'll tell you about Gail Fisher here, and we'll have a report that involves the Cubs bullpen. In the dirt. You'll probably see some swings and misses at pitches that are not in the strike zone from guys who normally don't do that, but I think that's because not too many hitters want to get to a 2-strike count against Cueto, because he does miss bats.
He's kind of sneaky with his fastball. I mentioned it usually sits in the low 90s. Might get up to 94 on a good day, but he does have some late movement. Slider doesn't have a large amount of break, but just enough to get hitters off of his fastball. But when push comes to shove, he is going to challenge the opposing hitters. He likes his heater.
He has never won at Wrigley Field. 0-2, but a 3.29 earned run average. Last 3 times he has faced the Cubs, he has lost. Here's his pitching coach, Dick Pohl. Gudome at second, Lee at first, and a 2-2 to Ramirez, just able to stay alive. As Ramon Hernandez checks to see if there's a scuff mark on his mask.
Better on the mask than on your face. I was looking at the pitching charts from Cueto's last outing against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then also against Houston, his next outing. Get one more look at that foul tip off the face. He was throwing a lot of what they call front door sliders to right-handed hitters. That pitch that starts off the inside corner and tries to break it back to the inside corner.
Phillips goes down to a knee and has plenty of time to throw out a Ramos. Cubs get a couple of hits, but they draw a blank in the run column. 0-0. Reds and the Cubs from Wrigley Field.
Neil Kotz will not be leaving, and Sean Marshall will not be coming out of the rotation. So we'll give you the final move tomorrow, but it won't be one of those 2.
Len Bob, Lou Piniella said he'll use Samardzija in a 6th or 7th inning role, and you heard Jim Henry say he's not telling us the corresponding move until tomorrow. I'll leave that up to you guys to speculate which player might be designated. We know it's not Neil Kotz.
Thanks, Gail, as Encarnacion flied out to right to start the second. So Samardzija will be here tomorrow. He was working as a starter with AAA Iowa, but 2 innings, 4 innings, and then 6 innings. I think his first outing was actually in relief, but Jeff stretched out, but it sounds, Bob, like he's going to be in short relief, as Lou told us before the game, 6th of the 7th. And the other move, we'll wait till they tell us tomorrow. But, we talked about it going into the regular season. Samardzija, in some ways, was the victim of that numbers game in terms of options and contracts and other sorts of things. High in the air off the bat of Jay Bruce. Bradley gets under it. I don't know how well Milton's going to be able to run. I'm sure he's a little less than 100%, but he had all kinds of time to get under that one.
And he kept his feet moving the entire time. I think that's going to be important for Milton as he learns right field here at Wrigley. You see guys that haven't played here very much. They run to the spot where they think the ball's going to come down. They start camping under it, and then the ball ends up 10 or 15 feet away from him. That time Milton kept his feet moving, just kind of glided over in the area and was in perfect position to make the catch.
So here's Phillips, who was cleanup man for the Reds every game until tonight. And he hits it foul and out of play. The thing about Samardzija, Bob, is he had good success in that short roll last year.
Well, at some point in his career, he probably will be penciled in as a member of the starting rotation. But given the struggles, as Gale said, of the bullpen in the early going this year, given the success that he had in that role last year, seems to be an obvious move.
Lily's one-strike pitch, that missed badly.
We certainly are not ones to speculate up here in the booth, but fans at home, just by process of elimination, some of the names that Jim Hendry mentioned, some of the other names in that bullpen.
Soriano's going back, and now over a little bit. Wynn helping out as Brandon Phillips is now 0 for his last 22 and 1 for 20 against Ted Lilly. Still no. As they'll resume that series tied at 1 apiece. Congratulations, Derrick Rose, the NBA Rookie of the Year.
Was there any doubt?
Not in my opinion.
Me neither.
He's going to win a few more trophies. He'd like to win a team trophy. 1-1 on Giovanni Soto. We both thought a pretty encouraging night at the plate for Gio last night. You're thinking middle. He goes up the middle. Phillips, however, fantastic at second base and made that look pretty easy as he backhands and throws him out.
Len, my first manager in the big leagues, Frank Robinson, told me one time, you're never going to make a living in the big leagues hitting ground balls to Ozzie Smith. Well, you're not going to make a living hitting ground balls anywhere near Brandon Phillips either. That guy is a vacuum cleaner, tremendous range, a strong arm no matter whether he's on balance or not. Won the Gold Glove last year and figures to win many more.
He clearly isn't letting his offense affect his defense. I thought he had hit a home run off Ted Lilly. That ball really died out and left. Wind blowing in. And the 0-1 to the National League's leading batter, Ryan Theriot. 409. He stays at that clip, I think he's going to win the batting title.
Pretty good chance.
He's also hitting .425 against right-handers and over .350 in his career against the Reds. Luis Castillo with a little renaissance with the Mets.
Another bell ringer for Ramon Hernandez behind the plate. Took one off the bat of Ramos Ramirez. This time it's Ryan Theriot rattling his cage back there.
Theriot has now started every game, and Aaron Miles in there for Mike Fontenot tonight. Mike's had a bit of a slow homestand, and Theriot will probably get a day off here not too far down the road. Cubs playing their second of 20 straight without an off day. Derek Lee and Alfonso Soriano, the others to have started every contest. I can see Alfonso maybe getting a day off if Lou wants to keep Michael Hoffpower fresh. As Theriot lines out to the right fielder Bruce.
And that's what Lou said in his pregame press conference today. He was asked if 350 at-bats was a reasonable number for Michael Hoffpower to expect. And Lou thought about it for a minute, but then agreed. Yeah, he said, I think we can get him 350 at-bats. You know, especially as this season progresses, you mentioned the streak of 20 straight games. Soriano's going to need a day off at some point. Milton Bradley just coming back from the injury. If he's okay, he figures to play pretty regularly for a while. Yeah, but Derek Lee's going to need an occasional day off. So Lou looking for places to drop Micah Hoffpower in there against right-handed pitching.
And you know, Lou would like to get Reed Johnson in there, but the Cubs keep facing right-handed pitching. Only position player who has not yet started, Joey Gathright. The 0-2 to Aaron Miles. He was late on the swing. Still 2 strikes. For Miles, this is his 4th start at second. The hockey beards. Off his foot.
Oh, Cueto limping off the mound there. Kind of came down awkwardly on his follow through. Saying he's all right. His trainer's going to make a quick trip to the mound to double check on their young right-hander. You'll get a look here. He just kind of landed awkwardly and then fell off to that first base side. Once he realized it was a foul ball at the plate, he limped over toward first base and probably will take a warm-up pitch or two just to make sure he's okay. Or maybe not. If I was the hitter, I'd want him to take a warm-up pitch or two.
Pitcher Lilly on deck. Those regulation. Let's get those pants down as low as you can get them.
What is regulation anymore? I don't really know.
You have straps.
He's actually got the right one at least tucked underneath and hooked on his back cleat, the heel cleat.
We've talked about this before in the Cubs minor league system. That can't happen.
No, and I think the reason it doesn't happen or can't happen is because somebody in the minor league system did to their pants exactly what Johnny Cueto did. They hooked them underneath the cleats, poked some holes in a pair of pants, and Mary Fleta said that's enough of that. Everybody hike them up to the knee.
Little floater, but Gonzalez got out there quickly and makes the catch. And the Cubs go down in order. 5 straight sent down by Cueto. 0-0. CBOE front row seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long. Don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com. Check out the CBOE front row seats auction today. Maybe get some cotton candy while you're at it.
Yes, indeed. They'll have a blue tongue in a couple of innings.
7, 8, and 9 for the Reds, starting with Ramon Hernandez, who was 6 out of 14 with 2 homers and 6 walks, versus Ted Lilly. Going back to their American League days. Lilly looking for his 94th career win. He's had 2 wins for every loss as a Cub, 34 and 17. This is his 71st start in a Cubs uniform. Curveball missed the inside corner. It's 2-1. Popped him up right side for Lee. 1 out.
Well, it's time for our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Let's take a look at Ted Lilly's delivery. You mentioned it's kind of a slow motion. He's got a lot of moving parts. There's a little hesitation right there as he turns his back to the hitter and then hides that ball well. The hitter does not pick it up until it leaves his hand. It's kind of an unusual delivery, but that's Ted Lilly's delivery, America's favorite sandwich delivery, guys, Jimmy John's.
It looks, when he releases the ball, to be pretty free and easy. I'm sure he's working very hard, but it doesn't look like a max effort guy.
No, not at all. And, you know, he shouldn't be.
The 1-0 to Alex Gonzalez, fouled back.
I mean, he can run that fastball in on the hands of right-handed hitters. He can jam a lefty inside off the plate, but his fastball is usually going to sit in the mid to upper 80s, and he really needs to rely on changing speeds and hitting his spots. I think that delivery works perfectly for what Ted Lilly's trying to do out there on the mound.
looking around the diamond. Not only Ted Lilly, but the defenders as well. A lot of guys blowing in their hands on this very cool night. Slow start for Gonzalez. He's got some pop, but he tries to bunt. Diving stop by Lilly from his knees. He threw it away. Gonzalez is going to end up at least at second as Bradley picks it up. A single for Gonzalez and a throwing error on Ted Lilly.
Right before the pitch, Aramis Ramirez backed up several steps. Gonzalez must have picked that up out of the corner of his eye and decides to try to bunt for a base hit. That was half a good play by Ted Lilly. Makes a great stop right there. Unfortunately, his throw from his knees pulls Derek Lee off the bag, rolls all the way down into the Reds bullpen. Milton Bradley, fortunately, over there to back up the play and hold Gonzalez at second base.
Now, Cueto just 2 for 48 in his career. He's knocked in 1. Some guys look like hitters. Then there are guys like Johnny Cueto. And I would say most pitchers have that look. I mean, that was a big hack. He's got a big leg kick.
Well, he went from one extreme to the other with the Reds starting pitchers. Last night, Micah Owings, one of the best hitting pitchers to come down the pike in a long time. And Johnny Cueto, one of the worst.
But as you always say, anybody with a bat in their hands is dangerous, especially with a runner in scoring position. Here's the 0-1. Cueto pushes a bunt past Lilly, and he's going to have a hit. There you go. And that was a perfect bunt by a guy who's now 3 for 49 in his major league career.
That's a pretty smart piece of hitting by Johnny Cueto. He understands his own limitations. He's got very little chance of getting a base hit off Ted Lilly, but pushes that bunt to the right side. At worst, they throw him out at first base, and the Reds have a runner at third with 2 outs. And in this particular case, he placed it perfectly and was able to leg it out for an infield hit.
The 2 hits for the Reds have totaled about 90 feet, and they have him at the corners with only 1 away. And don't put it past Willie Taveras to do the exact same thing. He might be the best in the game these days in terms of laying down bunt hits, along with guys like Juan Pierre. Here we go. And swinging away. The last 4 years, 05 to 08. 207 infield hits, 110 bunt hits, both numbers leading the majors.
And a guy who rarely grounds into a double play. I mean, the Cubs infield defensively, they really have to think quick if they want to turn a double play on a ground ball off the bat of Willie Taveras. Should have plenty of time at second with Johnny Cueto running, but they're really going to have to rush that turn at second base.
Lee plays in front of Cueto at first, and the breaking ball is low. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Reds grabbed the lead early last night on a Jay Bruce home run, but then the Cubs came right back and eventually pulled away, winning 7-2. That missed. Cubs will try to buck a trend tonight, partner. In games in which they have not committed an error, they're 8-0. In games in which they have committed an error, they're 0-4. So they'll try to change that up after the Ted Lilly throwing error. Manager looking for some action. How about a double play?
Contagious, makes me want to yawn.
The 2-1. Tip strike 2.
Be interesting to see if Taveras hits a fly ball to the outfield. We've seen the wind really knock down some fly balls already in this game, and the runner at third base, Alex Gonzalez, not the fastest guy in the world. It'll be interesting on a shallow fly ball to the outfield to see if the Reds take a chance.
He's coming off knee surgery too. Full count. 3-2 with 1 out. Hairston on deck. Looks like Gio wants a fastball in. Here's the pitch. Out into left center. Soriano will get there. Gonzalez tagging. Took a look back at Soriano. Alfonso not going to throw toward the plate. Really didn't have momentum heading that way. And it'll be a sacrifice fly for Taveras. Well, that's too bad. If that ball had been hit right at Soriano, there might have been a play.
Well, just a shallow fly ball, but unfortunately for the Cubs, hit in a good spot for the Reds over in the gap in left center. Looked like Fonzie took a quick peek to Fukudome because he had the better angle coming over from center field, but couldn't get there in time. And when Fonzie made that catch moving to his left, as you said, no momentum going toward the plate, no chance to throw the runner out. Now, if he could give way to Fukudome on that play, now Kosuke's got some momentum coming toward the dish and probably would have at least had a shot to throw out Gonzalez at the plate.
And a very accurate throwing arm. Soriano, by the way, has already nailed 2 base runners from left. Cueto still at first, and the 1-0 to Hairston. He was a little late. Jerry's from Naperville, went to Naperville North High School. Comes from a great baseball family. He participated in the World Baseball Classic for Team Mexico. Down to first, and he held up, according to James Ford. I think Jerry's mom is from Mexico.
That curveball almost makes its way back to the outside corner, but you can see Giovanni Soto had to reach across his body just enough. Pitch was just off the corner. It looks like he's struggling with that curveball a little bit in the early going tonight.
High, deep fly ball for Hairston. Kosuke calls off Soriano, and that's the inning. They do get a run on the sacrifice fly by Willie Taveras, and the Reds lead 1-0. Sportsnet. We'll have coverage at 12:30 as the Cubs will host the Reds in the series finale. At 6 on Comcast Sportsnet Plus, the White Sox will slug it out with the Orioles in Baltimore. And at 6:30 here on Comcast Sportsnet, the Bulls are back on the West Side, Game 3 against the Celtics. Another huge day of action beginning tomorrow at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Good luck to the Blackhawks tonight in Calgary.
I like it.
Yeah, give it to a kid.
Give it to a kid.
Raleigh Fingers looks old.
I'd still bring him in to get a right-hander out.
Oh, yeah. Ted Lilly to start the third with the Cubs trailing by a run. Nothing in one on Lilly. Tapper to third, it's foul. What a start to Johnny Cueto's career last year. I remember hearing about him before we saw him. His first 2 major league starts, he didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 18.
His command has not been nearly as good as it was in his first 2 major league starts. He can lose it on occasion, as I mentioned before. He tends to overthrow when he gets to 2 strikes, really wants to finish off the hitter with a punch out. And that's a common thing for a young pitcher with a good arm like Johnny Cueto. He'll learn at some point in his career that it's a lot easier to let your defense make plays behind you.
They're going to Bob will do it against the opposing pitcher, and Gonzalez still had time to get Ted Lilly. Well, as Alfonso Soriano comes up, a perennial All-Star, you have a chance to vote. The All-Star game will be in St. Louis in July. You can visit Cubs.com to cast your vote. There's my ballot right there.
Yeah,
you don't even have to
just turn in your lineup card.
tell you what it is, but all those Cubs are on that official ballot.
I really have mixed feelings about that All-Star game, and I never did when I was just a player or a coach, but after I managed for a few years, I really thought about it a lot. And as big of a thrill as it is for a player to play in an All-Star game, and a great honor to get voted in by the fans or selected by the manager, when you're a team that's looking forward to the postseason, your guys can use those days off at the All-Star break.
A couple of guys who are used to being All-Stars as well. Alfonso Soriano's been an All-Star 7 straight years. Cubs had 8 last year, right? Plus Lou Piniella. Giovanni Soto was there starting for the National League. Three and 1.
A little extra mustard on that fastball from Johnny Cueto. Humped it up there at 95 miles an hour on the 3-0 count. Probably thought Soriano had the green light.
He does there, and he rolls to Gonzalez and scoops it up. How about this note from Elias regarding Rich Harden, who struck out 8 in 6 innings last night to get the win, his first of the year. 26 strikeouts for Harden in 15 innings. No other pitcher in the modern era, going back to 1900, has had that many strikeouts in as few innings as Rich Harden in a 3-start span in 1 season. 26 punch-outs in 15 innings.
Well, that's a strange thing about Rich Harden. Even on those rare days when he doesn't have his best stuff, whether his command eludes him or his fastball isn't there, his changeup isn't quite good enough, he still gets a lot of punch-outs.
You know, it makes me curious now to know how many strikeouts Kerry Wood had in the outings around the 20 strikeout game. It's not that many. I said 15 innings, so I guess would be the 6 innings around the 9 in which he struck out 20 Astros. Do you think we'll ever see in the history of this game, century after century after century, where a pitcher will strike out all 27? I think that's possible at this level.
No.
Carey got close, 20 out of 27. Three and 2 on Kosuke.
I know I don't want to be in the lineup if somebody does. That'd be embarrassing. Strike out everybody.
I don't have the name or where he pitches, but isn't there a high school pitcher who's thrown 4 straight no-hitters? I saw it on the highlights the other night.
Now that I could see it at the high school level. You get a physically gifted young athlete.
Deep to left, Hairston gets right to the spot. And that's the inning. Nicely done by Jerry Hairston, who's learned the outfield the last few years after playing in the infield for many. 1-0, Red. Here in 2009. I tell you, Dusty didn't have a lot of choices. I mean, you look at Encarnacion in the 170s, but the incumbent Brandon Phillips came in at 143. His best hitter is his number 3 hitter, Joey Votto. He'd be the other choice, maybe Jay Bruce, but he's at 211. And there's a lefty on the mound. Encarnacion skies one on the infield. 2 quick outs for individual health insurance from a name you can trust. Call Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois at 866-575-BLUE. No hitter for Ted Lilly tonight. He's given up 2 infield singles, but he held the Rockies without a hit through 6 2/3 his last time out. 4th time he's taken a no-hitter into the 7th. 6 other active pitchers have done that. 1-1 on Jay Bruce. Randy Johnson, Tim Wakefield, Jamie Moyer, Derek Lowe, Kevin Millwood, Carlos Zambrano. I don't know if you saw the note, but I'm sure there are fans out there wondering, well, how many times has Carlos taken a no-hitter into the 7th? 6 times in his career. Randy Johnson 14 times. And how many no-nos? He has 2, I think, right?
I believe 2.
One with Seattle and then the perfect game. He did it like 13 years apart. Lilly did not beat Bruce to first base. And Bruce ends up with an infield hit. They have 3 of them in the last 2 innings.
Just a little too deliberate getting over there to cover the bag. Derek Lee got him the ball in pretty good shape. Ted had to kind of break up his steps and reach for that bag with his right foot. That extra step he took right there gave Bruce just enough of an opening to beat Ted to the bag. It was very close.
High-speed shutter cam shows that that's probably the right call by James Hoy. Looked like a tie. As close to a tie as you could get. Well, you know my theory, and this matchup worries me a little bit tonight.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
Oh, for what'd you say, 20?
22 now.
22.
And he hit one deep to left his first time up. He has 1 career hit against Lilly and now 20 at bats, and it was a homer. Brandon Phillips is going to hit, and the Cubs hope it starts on Friday.
Yeah. Dusty took him out of that 4 spot in the lineup where he had hit every game so far this season. Just try to take a little pressure off, move him down a little bit in the order.
I think the Reds waited a little longer to release their lineup so Dusty could talk to Brandon Phillips, which is a common courtesy. Let him know he was going to move him down a couple of spots. Big lead over there by Jay Bruce. Not going anywhere. Curveball strike, 0-2.
Hey, you get a little concerned when you see that big lead at first base. And when Ted Lilly first picked up his right foot, Bruce was breaking back toward first base. We've talked about it in the past, the one-way lead where you get a maximum lead plus 1 more step. And every time that pitcher moves, you go back to first base. And then the play off of that is to shorten up your lead and break for second on the first movement. I think he's just caught in between over there, to tell you the truth. A good base runner can really sell that one-way lead leading into a first move play. You get that huge lead and you continually break back to first base and act like you just can't get a good read on the pitcher, and then ultimately you shorten up your lead. The pitcher sees you shorten up your lead. He assumes you're going to stay there. You've shown him some good moves over to first base, and then you take off on first movement. You have to be a little bit of a salesman to be a good base stealer.
Long pause now, the pitch. And it's 2-2. You gotta love this game. You can't go to your mouth normally when you're on the dirt of the mound. Mark Berry at third. But on a cold night, you can blow into your hand. Well, who says you can't blow into your hand while spitting.
Yeah, right up until the moment. Yeah, you see Ted, he's doing it as he's getting his sign.
Not saying he's doing that. Well, veteran pitcher can work on that throughout the winter, right? See if it works.
I mean, veteran pitchers, they know how to lick their fingers and wipe their palm on their pants leg. Still have some moisture on their throwing fingers. There's ways to get around it. Not saying that anybody does. It's kind of funny in this game tonight. Ted Lilly, a left-hander, working from the far third base side of the rubber, and Johnny Cueto, a right-hander, pitches from the same spot, the far third base side.
Still 2-2.
It's more of a comfort thing than anything else, but there is a small change in angle. Just moving from the middle of the rubber to one corner or the other changes the angle of that pitch as it gets into the hitting zone. And for Ted Lilly, he feels like his pitches are most effective when he works from that third base side. He can run the fastball into the righties. He can nip that outside corner with the breaking ball or the changeup.
Really dug the ball into the webbing of his hand. They're rubbing it up. He's going to throw over to first again. Runner goes, and a base hit into right center, and that's going to allow Bruce to move to third, where he's stopped by Barry. Not the best line for Bruce as he rounded second. Well, he didn't really round second. I mean, he took a straight line to second base and then saw the ball roll right past him.
And that's not a hit and run. With 2 strikes on the hitter, you don't use a hit and run. That's just smart hitting on the part of Brandon Phillips. Jay Bruce broke for second. You could clearly see Aaron Miles was the cover man at second base when he evacuated his position. Brandon Phillips just rolled one right through the vacated hole.
The way it's going for Phillips, I thought that ball was going to hit Bruce. That would have ended the inning. It's a first hit to get to the outfield. Now, Bob, as a base runner in this spot, when you hear contact with 2 outs,
there's no
never
need
lifted his head.
Yeah, you don't need to. With 2 outs, you're just going to run. I mean, it's nice to know where the baseball is, but that's why you have a third base coach. It was kind of an awkward turn at second base for Jay Bruce. Your first concern as a base stealer is to take the most direct line to that next base, and once that ball's put into play, you just have to do the best you can to turn that corner and advance on to third base. Well, with 2 outs, if the ball's hit in the air, you just keep running. If it's hit on the ground, you just keep running. But you certainly don't want to watch the defensive team and expect them to help you at all as to where the ball is. That's why you have to pick up your third base coach if there's any doubt in your mind where that batted ball went.
Ball at 2 strikes on Hernandez, who popped to first. His initial time up. Crowd getting into it. I'd like to see Lilly with a strikeout. He struck out the first batter of the game and hasn't had one since. Phillips runs from first. He'll take second without a throw. Phillips, that's his second stolen base of the year, and the Cubs now have only allowed 3.
And they pretty much conceded that when neither middle infielder broke to cover the bag at second. Alan Trammell, who aligns the infield defense, told the guys just to hold their position. They didn't want to open another hole.
Bounding ball to Terrio. No problem. Back-to-back 2-out hits and made Lilly work to get out of it, but he did. And it's still 1-0 Cincinnati. Middle of the order coming up. So you have Larry Rothschild, Aramis Ramirez, and Carlos Zambrano, but 3 at the coaching staff of the Reds. Manager Dusty Baker, Dick Cole, and Juan Porky Lopez.
Juan Lopez's son Jackie, a real good young high school ball player down in Florida, was picked as one of the best players in the country at his level.
Talking with Dusty before the game. His son Darren had 3 hits in his game yesterday. Derek Lee with a base hit. It starts the bottom of the 4th. He's 2 for 2. Yeah, not a big surprise. Darren is a really good baseball player. He loves this game. I saw Darren at the ballpark a lot.
Oh, Derek picking on a fastball that was inside off the plate. Ramon Hernandez was reaching way inside. Derek pulled his hands in. Got jammed a little bit, but strong enough to muscle it out into shallow center field for a knock.
Now Milton Bradley in the lineup for the first time since April 12th when he suffered the groin injury. Hi, Mike. How did he know he was going to be in?
Blankets.
He knows everything.
I think a blanket would probably come in more handy tonight than a foam finger.
Yeah, I would think so.
Mike's all about marketing. He's got to figure it out.
I'll tell you, you and I know a lot of the vendors in and around Wrigley Field. Good time to be a vendor here in Chicago with the Bulls and Blackhawks in the playoffs. Baseball season underway. Tough times economically, but everybody feels better when the sports teams are doing well. Oh, man, Johnny Cueto very fortunate to get out of the way as Bradley grounds out. Oh, man, that was very dangerous. I don't know if I've seen a portion of the barrel of the bat go at a defender or anyone else on the field that hard and that dangerously.
Well, and Cueto is running over to cover first base. That's his first instinct, but then he sees that barrel of the bat and decides, I'm going to get down. Let Joey Votto handle that ball by himself over there at first base. Peripheral vision for a pitcher. I tell you, you're following the ground ball to the right side. You know you have to get over and cover first, but out of your peripheral vision, you see the barrel of the bat coming out there. Fortunately for Johnny Cueto, he was able to get out of the way.
Lee Menard's big lumber stat. Ramirez with a hot homestand. He's knocked in 8. Chance to tie it or give the Cubs the lead here, but he won't get that chance. Gets hit in the backside.
Another look at a fastball that never was close to the strike zone. Looked like it caught him just beside the pocket there on the left hip. We talked about Cueto and that low to mid 90s fastball. This is not the kind of night you want to take one for the team, but Ramirez will jog on down to first base.
Yeah, Ramos is going to feel that one for a while.
That's the second time that Cueto has plunked a Ramos Ramirez. It's now 9 at bats career.
2 on for Soto. Wide for ball 1. 1-0 Reds. They got their run in the 3rd. Ground ball to third base. Dropped by Encarnacion. He will tag Derek Lee, but it could have been a double play. Encarnacion looking at the ball. Might have been a little slippery. So it'll be a fielder's choice for Gio.
It looked like he just got a little bit ahead of himself right there. Was looking toward second base. Didn't see the ball all the way into the glove. And standing right in the baseline, Derek Lee either had to run into the tag or try to go around him, and once he went around him, he's out of the baseline anyway.
Well, the guy you want at the plate, with piling up hits left and right. Let's see, though, if Aramis can score on a single. One thing that we didn't point out, but I noticed on the Bradley ground out with the barrel of the bat flying, is Milton didn't look great running down the line. Really seemed to be favoring the groin.
And that could be because he realized it was going to be an easy out at first base and didn't want to overextend himself.
Missed on the slider. 2-1. Aaron Harang, Carlos Zambrano tomorrow, right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Pre-game coverage at 12:30. First pitch at 1:20. Should be a beautiful day.
Cueto slowly sneaking up on that 75 pitch mark. Just went over the 70 pitch mark. As I mentioned, the first 25 pitches of the game, opponents batting .255 against him in his career. Pitch 26 through 50, it drops down to .245, but then 51 to 75, it jumps up to .276. And then from 75 on up, even higher, .302.
Runners will get a head start. That helps, particularly with Aramis. They're getting hit on the hip as he takes his lead off second base. There they go, the 3-2. He struck him out. We've completed 4 from Wrigley Field. Reds 1, Cubs nothing.
Want to show the world it's not like, it's love. Get MLB banking only from Bank of America.
Time now for the Coors Light freeze can. Going back to last night, Joey Votto stole second base in the fourth inning. We thought Ryan Theriot may have gotten him on the hand. Too close to call.
Oh, really close to call out there. And a tough play for an umpire. He's used to training his eyes on that base, watching for a tag. And when you see a high throw up the baseline like that, it's a tough call to make. You could see even with the freeze cam, it was tough to tell whether there was contact between the glove and Joey Votto's hand.
Pitch. Alex Gonzalez turns on one left field corner, and it's just foul. Very little room down there between the sidewall and the foul line.
I'll get another look as that ball gets down there in that left field corner and just does squeak into that area between the foul line and the wall. Alex Gonzalez stood at home plate for a long time watching the flight of that baseball. With the way the wind has played tricks on batted balls in this series, you would think everybody would hit the ball and just run.
Gonzalez, known for his defense, he's a couple hits away now from 1,000 in his major league career. And actually the swing on the deep fly is reminiscent of the game-ending home run he hit in the World Series. That was against the Yankees in 2003. Just snuck it over the fence and left. It wasn't called Dolphin Stadium, Pro Player Stadium at the time. It tied the series up at 2-2. Game 4 off Jeff Weaver of the Yankees in the 12th. And he has the distinction of hitting the first game-winning homer against the Yankees in the World Series since Bill Mazeroski ended the 1960 series. That's the thing about sports, especially when it comes to postseason. A guy like Gonzalez, you think defense, but a lot of people think World Series home run. Bill Buckner, batting title, pretty good defensive player. Everybody thinks of the play in '86 against the Mets as Gonzalez is thrown out. You just don't know.
Yeah. Bucky Dent, even though that wasn't a World Series, that was a big postseason home run by a guy that wasn't known for his offense, let alone his power. I'll tell you the best, though, had to be Joe Carter off of Mitch Williams. I mean, a walk-off home run in Game 7 of the World Series. It doesn't get any better than that. That's the ultimate.
In front of the home fans.
Joe Carter was known for his offense.
Yes, he was. Great call by the late Tom Cheek. Never hit a bigger home run in your life. Touch them all, Joe, right?
Cueto has all the motions of a hitter. The back of his left hand going out toward the pitcher. I want to get through the ball. I'm not fooling anybody.
Bradley coming over, but he won't get there in time. Milton's is clearly not 100%.
You watch a player chasing a ball in foul territory like that, and you expect to see some kind of gear shifting. And Milton never got it out of first gear, just kind of was jogging over there. I'm not sure he thought he could get there in time anyway. But just not quite back to 100% yet.
Lou was asked about Bradley in the late innings, saying, would you take him out for defense? And Lou seemed to indicate that the answer was no. He would leave him in. And he'll have another chance here, and nobody will get there. 3 Cubs in the vicinity, but Johnny Cueto is now 2 for 2.
We talk all the time about how this game of baseball is all about adjustments, a series of adjustments, and I have to think, based on what Lou has seen from Milton Bradley in right field tonight, if the Cubs do have a lead late, I think we're going to see a defensive replacement. I mean, he just doesn't have any acceleration out there in right field. Once again, a ball I don't think he would have had a play on, but was very slow getting to the spot.
We talked all night last night about Micah Owings, and he didn't have a hit. Talked about how unhitterish Johnny Cueto is, and that one dropped by Lilly. A sacrifice and an error, but that's one of those plays, Bob. Look, I'm not taking the Ted off the hook here, but with Willie Taveras, you have to rush. You have to hurry. And that's not the first time that's happened. It won't be the last with Willie Taveras laying down a bunt. It'll be a sacrifice and an error. That's a play he should make. No question about it.
Yep. Ted will be the first one to tell you he should make that play. It's a little tougher for the left-handed pitcher because, as you could clearly see, Ted had his back turned to the runner. He knows Taveras is very fast. He knows he's got to hurry. And he's got to turn his back to him before he makes that throw to first base. So the combination of those things just caused Ted to drop that ball out of his glove.
He's made 2 errors. The first one led to an unearned run. And he faces Hairston with 2 on and 1 out. Really very deliberate. Always takes his time. Spins around, sending Cueto back to second. You know, I don't know the answer to this question. Obviously, pitchers can wear jackets. Are they the only runners allowed to wear a jacket?
That is a good question.
If Willie Taveras said, I'm cold, I want to wear a jacket. Well, I wonder if they'd let him.
Just as cold for Willie Taveras as it is for Johnny Cueto.
Sure. Absolutely.
Of course, we know the reason Cueto trying to keep that right arm and right shoulder warm while he's out there running the bases.
Terrio will get 1. They get 2. How about that? Terrio and Miles with a double play. And that ends the threat. A single by the pitcher. An error by the Cubs pitcher, but the defense helping out Ted Lilly. Still 1-0 Reds. Put your favorite team logo out there for everybody to see with MLB banking only from Bank of America. Official bank of Major League Baseball. Visit bankofamerica.com/MLB. Much nicer night out here at the ballpark, although officially only 5 degrees warmer. Not damp. That helps.
Yeah. It's a huge help.
Aaron Miles, a quick turn after he got the nice flip from Ryan Theriot. This was a beauty.
Great double play, and one of the toughest double plays for a second baseman. Look at Aaron Miles, has his back completely turned to first base and the runner, but still has his presence of mind to wheel around and throw a strike to Derek Lee to complete that double play. I mean, this is a terrifying prospect for a second baseman. You know that runner's bearing down on you. You have to make sure to catch the throw from the shortstop and then wheels almost blindly to throw that ball to first base right on line to Derek Lee to complete the double play.
He got a nice feed from Theriot. Easy play for Phillips. And it'll be Soriano with 2 outs.
And this is a situation you really don't like to put Alfonso Soriano in. A couple of really quick outs here in this inning. You don't want the Reds to get back in that dugout this quickly. We'd like to see Soriano take a couple of pitches in this at bat, but we know that's not his forte. I mean, usually a leadoff hitter will stand in that on-deck circle until that pitcher gets back into the dugout. But Alfonso is so anxious to get up there and get his hacks in. Ted Lilly barely made it back to the dugout. He was already standing in the batter's box, and he does take the first pitch outside for ball 1.
Did you see that fan? He had a face in the back of his head.
Like my science teacher.
Soriano with an 8-game hitting streak coming in. Ball and 2 strikes. Oh, I see. The jersey's on backwards. Okay.
Is that hip-hop band Crisscross? They wear their shirts backwards, if I remember correctly.
Good call. A wind in the 2-2 pitch. Another ground ball in the hole and through. Perfectly placed. 9-game streak for Soriano.
And we talk all the time about a top spin fly ball into the outfield. Well, Soriano hits top spin grounders. That ball just accelerated right on through the left side. Fooled a little bit by that slider down low and away. Kind of got down and around that ball. Had a lot of top spin as it shot through that left side.
Fukudome 1 for 2. Cubs have won 3 straight. Second time they've won 3 in a row. Driven right center. Taveras runs well, and he's able to flag it down. Not every center fielder makes that catch, but Willie Taveras usually does. 1-0. Blackhawks back at the Madhouse on Madison with hopes of putting out the Flames. Coverage starts with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live. Blackhawks and Flames game 5 Saturday night at 7. Right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. It's an exciting series with the game 4 tonight. Ted Lilly working in the 6th to Joey Votto. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 Reds. Go Hawks.
That guy covered up with a piece of carpet. What was that? Whatever it is, it looks warm.
Fair ball to Lee, and he'll take it unassisted. I want to send out our deepest condolences to the O'Brien family on the loss of Billy O'Brien, a great friend of everyone over at Murphy's Bleachers. He was a retired Chicago policeman, a huge Cubs fan. And we're thinking about Billy, and again, our condolences to his family. In there on Encarnacion.
Ted Lilly just has not been able to find a good release point for that big overhand curveball. He's tried it about 10 times in this game. He's thrown it for a strike once.
This is his first start in 9 days. He was supposed to go Sunday, but the game was rained out. The Cubs decided to stick with Rich Harden last night. Slot Lilly in tonight.
And there's no question that curveball is a feel pitch. And we've seen Ted Lilly on days when he has a good feel for it. He'll go to it a lot, especially in 2-strike situations. And we've also seen games where, like tonight, he just can't seem to find the good release point, so he relies more on his slider and his straight changeup for his off-speed pitches.
Ted had been battling a cold. Briefly talked to him yesterday, said he was feeling a lot better. Tolman Fields with home runs for the White Sox tonight. They're blowing out the Orioles 8-1 in the 9th. Kansas City leads at Cleveland 2-0 in the last of the 9th. Toronto 7, Texas 4. Bottom of the 8th, the Blue Jays at 10-5. Boston in game 2 of a day-night doubleheader 7-3 over the Twins in the bottom of the 6th. They won 10-1 in the first game that actually only went 7 innings because of rain. Lilly with a strikeout. That's his first one since the first inning.
On a slider. A lot of free swinging by this Reds ball club. We talked about their offensive struggles coming into this series. A lot of the hitters that had been expanding their own strike zone, swinging at a lot of pitches out of the zone. And from what I've seen, a lot of big swinging. A lot of guys look like they're trying to hit home runs. And certainly the conditions here tonight would call for more of a line drive ground ball swing to have any kind of success at all.
Door breaking ball. 0-2 on Jay Bruce. Yankees beat Oakland 9-7 as they win extras. Popped them up. Terrio makes the catch. That game was ended in the 14th in the Bronx. Cubs trying to get on the board against Johnny Cueto. Will go to the bottom of the 6th. Pitchers duel tonight.
Use of public transportation. The CTA Red Line stops directly at Wrigley Field at the Addison Station. For drivers, DeVry University offers remote parking and bus service for just $6. For more details, visit Cubs.com or call the CTA hotline at 773-836-7000.
Cueto working quickly, 1-1 to Derek Lee. He has 2 singles. Half of the Cubs hits. The other hits, Pucadome and Soriano. Hit foul. It's a game-ending 2-run homer by Melky Cabrera for the Yanks today in that win over Oakland. Final now in Cleveland. Royals 2, Indians nothing. Bruce over the mound, and he caught it. What a play. That is a fantastic catch by Jay Bruce. He had a long run and had to navigate over the bullpen mound.
Well, for a guy that's had limited playing time at the big league level, period, but especially here at Wrigley Field, you can see him kind of tiptoeing over that mound, got the glove up in the air, extended where he thought the ball was going to be, and makes a great play.
You can't do it much better than that in this ballpark. Bradley hits one really hard up into the seats. I think everybody's okay. And that was a rocket. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
4 more home runs at Yankee Stadium today.
Yeah, unbelievable. CC Sabathia gave up some runs. Seven runs, 6 earned in 6 2/3. He has a 4.81 ERA. Three and 2 to Bradley. Braves shut out the Nationals 1-0. They got a run in the 9th to win it. See how they scored. 3-2 pitch called strike 3. Bradley's been rung up a couple of times in this one. He's 0 for 3. Frustration, I'm sure, starting to mount off off to a very slow start.
Now this one on a high breaking ball. You see Hernandez goes up above his mask to catch that ball and then pulls it back down toward the middle of the strike zone and gets a call from Lance Barksdale.
Off the inside corner. A bases loaded walk to Kelly Johnson in the ninth, sending the Braves to a win. Jair Jurgens got a no decision. He has a 1.42 ERA, 7 2/3 no runs for the Braves. That's a strike. It's 2-1 on Aramis. Brewers beat the Phillies 3-1 to improve to 5-9. J.J. Hardy hit his third home run. Jason Worth his second for the Phillies. Braden Looper got the win. He's 2-0, 6 shutout innings. He's off to a really good start. Joe Blanton not off to a good start for the Phillies. He has a 7.31 ERA. He's 0-2. Todd Coffey got the save. Second. Ground ball backhanded by Encarnacion. The throw is right on the money. We've seen some really good defensive plays on both sides. 2 in this inning. One by Bruce. That one by Encarnacion. 1-0 to the 7th. Back on the west side, should be a great atmosphere. Game 3, series tied at 1-1 against the Celtics. Another huge day of action beginning tomorrow at 12:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. We're off to the 7th. Lilly versus Phillips. Bouncer foul. 5 hits for the Reds. The Cubs have 4. The stretch tonight will be conducted by the Bolingbrook High School girls basketball team, the 4A state champs. They defeated Whitney Young. We had the boys team from Whitney Young last night, the state champs. But tonight it's the Lady Raiders. High pop for Miles. Kept moving his feet and made the catch.
It seems like such a simple little thing, Len, but it makes all the difference in the world when you've got the wind swirling around the way it is tonight. You can make those adjustments much easier if your feet are moving than if you're stationary. Might look kind of funny sometimes, but it's what the situation calls for.
Swing and a miss by Ramon Hernandez. 0 for 2. Pop out and a ground out. That ball is crushed by Hernandez, and it's going to stay in for Soriano. That ball had home run written all over it. Ted Lilly going, all right, thank you, wind. Woo. That reminded me of Derek's ball last night. Should have been a 3-run homer.
That's a hanging changeup from Ted Lilly. Belt high out over the plate. Hernandez gets full extension, squares it right up on the barrel of the bat, pulls it to left field, and there is no action out there at all. Soriano about 1 step shy of the vines out there in left field, makes the catch.
Alex Gonzalez with 2 outs. Hit foul. Satavia Taylor, Candace Nevels, Morgan Tuck from Bolingbrook. Head coach Tony Smith, athletic director Alec Anderson handling the stretch. Squib to first, easy play for Lee, and it's time to sing the stretch.
For taking me out to the ballgame are the girls basketball 4A state champions from Bolingbrook High School.
All right, Cubs fans, let me hear you. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ballgame. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back to this room. Room for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3, take it out in the old game.
Nice job by the Bolingbrook High School girls basketball team, state champs. Bottom 7. Ball 1 to Giovanni Soto. A couple of notes on the basketball team. They've been in the state championship game 4 straight times, winning the title in 06 and 09.
I think that qualifies as a dynasty.
Yeah, no doubt. Morgan Tuck, a freshman, was Illinois' Miss Basketball. 14 years old. Alex Gonzalez shoots it across. Get a chance to check out Loyola's team. Satavia Taylor is headed to Loyola. Candace Nevels will be at Murray State in Kentucky. So we wish them the best of luck.
Well, we wish the Cubs offense the best of luck, trying to figure out a way to break through against Johnny Cueto. I mentioned that magical 75 pitch mark. He blew right by that in the ball game tonight, and still pitching very effectively, over 100 in this game.
Terrio at the plate, and it's off the plate inside. Miles next, and then if he gets to the pitcher's spot, they'll bat for Lilly, the pinch hitter. Ted at 96 pitches. He's been really good, but he's given up an unearned run and trails. Ted has been just about lights out here at home. His first 2 starts at Wrigley Field.
Well, there's no question he's taken advantage of the conditions a little bit. There have been some hard hit balls, especially in this game tonight. And under different circumstances, probably would have been rolling down Waveland Avenue, but part of being a smart veteran pitcher.
The results are results, right?
That's right.
Terrio grounds out. Johnny Cueto is getting results. Cubs have not had a runner past second all night. Lou Pinella's favorite restaurant is Harry Carey's Italian Steakhouse. Go where Lou goes for Chicago's best steaks. In Chicago, Rosemont or Lombard. Call 773-HOLY-COW or visit harrycareys.com for reservations. Miles trying to keep this inning alive. Shallow fly to left. Hairston, however, is there, and Cueto breezes through the 7th. Reds 1, Cubs still nothing. Cubs games this year. Visit Cubs.com. Click on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Cubs.com. See a Cubs game from the best seats at Wrigley Field. Check out StubHub at Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. That's it for Ted Lilly. The shot we had going to the break after the bottom of the 7th was Ted Lilly, as his night came to an end. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 unearned run, no walks, 2 strikeouts for Lilly. Just one of those nights, and he's hoping to get a no decision, and the Cubs come from behind win. They're only down 1, and Angel Guzman will take over. And Bob, good news, Johnny Cueto is out.
That is good news, and really it doesn't matter who comes in out of that Reds bullpen at this point. Johnny Cueto had the Cubs number tonight offensively, just couldn't seem to string anything together and put any kind of pressure on him in this game. And for Ted Lilly, it is another stellar outing. You know, just his own error was the only blemish on the ball game. He pitched a great game.
Lance Nix is jammed, and he'll roll out to Derek Lee. This is more of a philosophical discussion, but there are many fans who believe that if the pitcher makes an error, the resulting run should be earned. But we've discussed this before. I could not disagree more. There are two distinct things. It's pitching and defense. Now, they work in tandem, but a defensive miscue is an error. It's not a pitching error. So I don't care who makes the error. I like the fact that it is unearned. Like you guys trying to make an error, but I don't think you can penalize the pitcher even if the pitcher makes the error.
Well, they say once he lets the ball go, he becomes a fielder. He's no longer a pitcher. He's just another defender in the middle of the infield. And if the pitcher happens to be the guy that makes the error, it's just it's the same thing as if the shortstop made the error, the second baseman or third baseman or first baseman. Now, if it's the catcher, it should never be an error.
For any reason. 1-2 on Taveras. Well, we know what Ted's going to say after the game. He's going to say, look, I can't make those two errors. Shouldn't have made the throw. The first one, and the second one was right to me, even though that one didn't come back to haunt him.
You're talking about errors. I had another conversation with Bob Rosenberg before the ball game today, the fine official scorekeeper here at Wrigley Field, and there's just a few things that, to me, scream out for team error. I don't understand. As long as we've played this game of baseball, there are some very obvious plays that happen on the field where you cannot penalize one defender, but you can't penalize the pitcher either. And the specific play I was asking him about, it happened to me during my playing career, and it's happened to other catchers before. The runner breaks for second base on a stolen base attempt. The catcher comes out of the chute, fires a ball down there, and it hits the bag at second base because the two middle infielders didn't know who was covering the bag. And the error always goes to the catcher, and I think that is such an injustice. Now, Bob Rosenberg said, and to his credit, he will go to the defensive team and say whose job was it to cover the bag on that play, and he will give the error to the middle infielder. I've never seen that happen before, and it certainly didn't happen to me. But that's one of those things in my eyes, that's a team error right there. Somebody made a mistake, but you can't penalize the pitcher and give him an earned run should that runner come around to score.
I would agree. And the scorers have so much latitude on certain calls, a lot of calls, that the ball that drops that should be caught over the shortstop in front of the left fielder, they both look at each other and it's a hit. That's not a hit. Well played by Ramirez. That won't be a hit either.
Just electric quick hands down there at third base by Aramis Ramirez, and you better have quick hands when you're playing in even with the baseline for a potential bunter. He picks that ball clean, strong throw, that plenty of time to get Taveras. Well, you know you don't have much time when you're playing in guarding against a bunt. I mean, you have to get maybe one step and a dive. That time just a step to his left, went down to a knee, picked it clean, and threw him out.
2 down. We'd like to wish the Blackhawks well in their 4th playoff game with Calgary tonight. Hawks lead the best-of-7 series 2-1. That game just underway on the main Comcast Sportsnet channel. Check csnchicago.com for details. And on the hands, fouled back. Angel Guzman's last outing resulted in his first major league win. He has the game ball. He's going to give it to his mom.
Very nice.
Give it to a kid, give it to your mom.
Yeah.
We like both. That's fine. And a long time coming for Angel.
Canes are featuring a good fastball tonight. That last one at 96, really feeling it. Good late life on that heater.
He and David Patton really had to sweat it out, find out if they were going to make this opening day roster. They did, and Guzman finally has that first win. How about 2 in a row? Cubs can come back. Could not get that hot shot back up the middle, and Hairston keeps the Reds alive in the 8th. Hairston has squared up a few balls tonight. Sean Marshall will get loose. He's slated to start on Saturday in St. Louis. The Cardinals have not announced their starter for Saturday. But in reading the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, it sounds like it will not be P.J. Walters, but I think it'll be Mitchell Boggs instead. Cardinals lead the Mets 5-1 in the bottom of the 7th in St. Louis.
Should be a pickoff attempt over at first base. Giovanni Soto flipping that thumb out there. Different teams use different signs for their pickoff attempts at first base. When there's nobody at second, Gio just kind of flicks his thumb out there to let the pitcher know, I want you to throw one over to first base. Should be a fastball in if he hits the spot. Tail back out over the plate a little bit, but Votto still couldn't get to it. Well, Sean Marshall starting to throw in that Cubs bullpen. He's getting ready in a hurry should this inning continue and we get down to Jay Bruce's spot, the next left-handed hitter for Dusty Baker. Now, this one should be a pitch out, I think. It looked like just a straight fist from Giovanni Soto. That's usually a pitch out. Yep. It'll be a little trickier with a guy on second base if you want to have any kind of a pickoff attempt, and then teams will use different signs with a runner at second base if they want to attempt a back pick at first or a pickoff at third base. But with nobody out there at second base, pretty standard signs. You flip your thumb out there for a pickoff, it's a fist for a pitch out. Slider down and in. See if they can't get Votto to swing over the top of it.
They could not. Tough pitch to lay off.
That's a good location for that pitch right there. Even if he does swing at it, he's either going to miss it or he's going to ground it weakly to the right side of the field. Starts it just on the inside corner, breaking down and in. That's a pretty good take. The thumb again, another pickoff attempt.
Drive to left, Soriano on the track again, and this time he doesn't have room. It's over his head, and Hairston's going to score. It looked like it hit either right below the basket or the bottom part of the basket. Just to the right of the well, and it's 2-0 Cincinnati. Again, another ball that probably gets out with the wind not blowing in like it is tonight. Yeah, it almost hit the fan's glove.
It looked like it hit the bottom part of the basket for it to come back on the field the way it did. Soriano goes right back against the bricks trying to make the catch. I'm surprised that ball carried as far as it did.
It's the first extra base hit for either team.
And we've seen some right-handed hitters square up balls tonight, hit them to left field that look like home runs, and didn't come anywhere near the warning track. And that time, Votto, going to the opposite field, very nearly got one into the basket.
A 1-1 to Encarnacion is a strike to make it 1-2. And that's it as Guzman strikes out Encarnacion, but they add to their lead. Votto with the deep double to left, scoring Hairston, and it's 2-0 Reds. Here's David Weathers. He's still going. He'll turn 40 on September 25th. He sets up for the closer, Francisco Cordero. He's had a really good career, hasn't he?
He really has, and everywhere he's been, teammates rave about what a great guy he is to play behind. Very little secret. Sinker, slider, sinker, slider.
4-3 ground out to get Fontenot. Among the all-time leaders in appearances, the Reds have 2 of the top 70. David Weathers making his 902nd all-time appearance. Arthur Rhodes has made 720. Stormy, as they call him, is a former Cub. You're better off listing the teams he hasn't pitched for. Soriano, ground ball into the hole, and Gonzalez will just eat it. That'll be a hit for Soriano, and the tying run will come to the plate.
I'll tell you, the Reds have made some great defensive plays in this ball game, especially behind Johnny Cueto when he was in there. Nice running catch by Willie Taveras on the warning track in right center. One of the finer catches you'll see over in that bullpen by Jay Bruce, and then Edwin Encarnacion getting dirty on the foul line at third base, throws out Aramis Ramirez at first. If you're going to have a night like Johnny Cueto did, and he was very good, 7 strong innings, only 4 base hits, did not allow a run, did not walk a batter, but he needed his defense tonight, and they made some good plays for him.
Strike 1 to Fugudome.
The big key for Cueto was no walks.
Yeah, he walked 6 in his last outing. He was on tonight. 1-1 on number 1. Over the last decade, David Weathers has been the busiest reliever in baseball. 651, including tonight, appearances since 2000. Not just busy, but really good. A 3.30 earned run average. Nearing kind of a fun milestone. He's now 4 games behind Cy Young in the games pitched list. I don't care what the list is. If you pass Cy Young, it could be home runs allowed. It could be something really bad. But if you pass Cy Young, it's a feather in the cap.
Rename the award after David Weathers. Best pitcher in each league will get the David Weathers Award.
Don't know if they'd go that far. 2-1 and smack down the line foul. The Reds shut out the Cubs back in April of 07, 1-0. I'm guessing Weathers probably pitched in that game, and this Loesch went the distance. Called strike 3 on the sinker. 2 outs.
When it starts off the plate inside, you see Kosuke freezes, actually moves his back foot, preparing to get out of the way of that inside pitch, and that ball tailed right back over the inside corner. About a wind beater to left field here. What do you think?
Without looking at the numbers, I think this has been a tough matchup. Am I right?
I'm looking right at the numbers.
Yeah.
It hasn't been very good at all. 3 for 24 lifetime. That's a 125 batting average. He has drawn 7 walks. He's due.
Outside, 2-0.
You can see the crafty veteran David Weathers. If Derek Lee's going to beat him, it's going to have to be something to the opposite field. He's not going to make a mistake from the middle of the plate in. Everything's going to be away, away, away.
Well, this is his inning. There's nobody up in the Cincinnati bullpen. Musty didn't want to get his closer up. Switch hitter on deck. Milton Bradley. 3-1.
We know Derek doesn't like to swing at that 3-0 pitch very often, but against a guy like Weathers, that might be the one time you get out of your comfort zone and look to jump on that 3-0 pitch. That one right down the middle of the plate in the mid-80s. Ooh, got another one.
And it'll be just out of play. Might have been reachable if Votto had gotten to the tarp quickly. Just a little late. Give an assist to Roger Baird and the grounds crew for putting the tarp over on the first base side. There's Coco Cordero. Soriano gets a head start. On the 3-2 pitch to Derek Lee. Pop up. Phillips went out. And right at the edge of the grass, he makes the grab, and we'll go to the 9th. It's still Cincinnati 2 and the Cubs nothing. Stick around for Lowe's Cubs postgame live. Get highlights of all the action, analysis from Todd Hollinsworth, plus check in on Lou Pinella's postgame remarks. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs postgame live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Postgame will originate from the friendly confines tonight. Here's Kevin Gray. Numbers aren't pretty, but his last outing was his best. On Saturday against the Cardinals, came on with first and second, no outs in the 8th in a tie game, got out of it, then worked a 1-2-3 ninth to help the Cubs get that ball game into extras, and they won it in extras. One strike on Jay Bruce. We have 4 first names battling here: Kevin, Greg, Jay, Bruce.
Presenting justice, will hit a ground ball to the right side where either Aaron Miles or Derek Lee will make the play.
Elton Bradley could be involved. That'll work. The Reds with a run in the 3rd. It was unearned. They added on in the 8th. The Cubs are going to see a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders in the bottom of the 9th from Francisco Cordero. Well, Bradley, Ramirez, and Soto due up.
I'm just going to say, you saw Giovanni Soto block that breaking ball in the dirt. On a 2-strike count, a catcher has to make sure to keep that ball in front just in case the batter chases that bad pitch. If it was a 2-1 count or a 1-1 count and Kevin Gregg throws a breaking ball in the dirt, maybe you just try to backhand it, get out of the way, make sure you don't get hit by the pitch. But on a 2-strike count, you have to make sure to keep it in front in case that batter swings at it.
Another deep drive, about the same area, except this time it goes. And Jay Bruce with an opposite field home run to make it 3-0. And for Bruce, it's his 2nd home run of the series. Well, the Reds have just kept on trying to hit one in that spot, and Bruce finally did.
A fastball out over the plate. He catches it right off the barrel of the bat. But once again, the balls we've seen off the bat of right-handers go out there to left field and die. And Joey Votto off the basket, and now Jay Bruce over the basket. Left-handers going to the opposite field through the wind.
Going into tonight, the Cubs bullpen had a 3.07 ERA, third best in the National League. You know, they've had their issues, but they came in pitching really well. 1 earned run over the last 10 innings, but Guzman surrendered a run in the 8th, and Greg giving up the leadoff homer to Bruce in this inning.
I have to dig out my Physics of Baseball book written by Robert K. Adair. Talks about different things that happen in the game of baseball and uses the wide world of physics to explain a lot of things that happen on the field. And I want to see if he has anything about the rotation on an opposite field line drive off the bat of a lefty through the wind. Because those balls sure have been carrying to left field.
I don't know if this specific phenomenon is in the book. I'm sure it is, but we talk sometimes about a rising fastball. That's actually not accurate. You think about a guy like Kevin Gregg, what, 6'6"? If he threw a rising fastball, it'd be halfway up the backstop. But sometimes it does look like a good four-seam fastball actually does rise. I guess it just doesn't dip as much.
Just isn't affected as much by gravity as it makes its path from the pitcher's hand to the catcher's glove because of the amount of rotation they can get on that pitch. Think back to my playing days. Nolan Ryan certainly was a guy that it appeared his fastball was rising at times. Doc Gooden was a guy that could make it appear that his fastball was rising.
Now Chad Bradford, his fastball can rise because he comes from down under. Line shot, base hit for Brandon Phillips. Snapped in 0 for 22 earlier. He has 2 hits tonight.
Kevin Gregg basically has been reduced to a one-pitch pitcher in this outing tonight. He just has not been able to come close to the plate with his slider. And, you know, the Reds hitters are paying attention. Ramon Hernandez has been standing in the on-deck circle, and the guys that are due up after Hernandez watching from the bench. When you see a pitcher struggle with one of his pitches, especially if he's only a 2-pitch pitcher, you can go to the plate and eliminate that breaking ball until he proves to you he can throw it for strikes.
Bradley in right. 1 out. Now the Feldco Cubs upcoming schedule. No off days in sight with 20 straight. That stretch started last night. Comcast Sportsnet tomorrow afternoon, then Friday night from St. Louis. We'll also have games 1 and 3 from steamy Arizona. I would assume the roof, I hope it's working. It's going to be pretty hot in Phoenix.
Temperatures already in the triple digits down in the Valley of the Sun.
Triple digits here tonight. 0-4-5.
That was a while ago. I think it's dropped a little bit since the game started.
Yeah, you're right. I might not even bring my jacket up tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful day.
You are the eternal optimist.
David Patton joining Sean Marshall. would pop up. And it's a souvenir. Paid crowd 38,738. Cold night. Many have headed for the exits with the Cubs trailing 3-0. Really close.
Close to that inside corner, that fastball holding its path. Giovanni Soto trying to make it look better than it really is.
Soft liner. Terrio catches it. Ryan was maybe trying to take a peek to see where Gonzalez was, if he was really hustling down the line. I think Ryan might have considered dropping the ball on purpose and trying to turn a double play.
Well, even if you don't turn two, it would have been a good trade-off to get Alex Gonzalez on the bases and get Brandon Phillips off. As you mentioned earlier, Gonzalez coming off a knee surgery, does not run well right now. Phillips, pretty good base runner.
Chris Dickerson batting for Weathers. They're getting a lot of help off their bench. Micah Owings a part of that. Cubs acquired Kevin Gregg in mid-November. It essentially signaled the end of Kerry Wood's 11-year Cubs career. Kerry eventually signed as a free agent with Cleveland. We'll see the Indians here at Wrigley Field in June as Wood and DeRosa return. We'll also see the Twins here at home. Cubs will head to Detroit. They'll play home and home with the White Sox as per usual. Two pitch, check swing, and he went far enough for a strikeout. Jay Bruce with a leadoff home run to make it 3-0. Last chance now for the Cubs. Bradley, Ramirez, and Soto against Francisco Cordero. charities. For more info or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Milton Bradley against Francisco Cordero. Turned 34 on May 11th. He throws hard. It's 2-0. Bradley trying to find any way he can to get on base with his team down 3. Missed again, 3-0. Ugly numbers for Cordero here at Wrigley. Remember the Ramirez home run when Cordero was a Brewer a couple years ago. That's a strike. If Cordero gets this save, he'll become the 11th pitcher ever with 100 saves in each league. 216 currently in all.
.216 saves puts him 7th on the career saves list among active pitchers. Mentioned a couple years ago with the Brewers, he saved 44, saved 34 last year with the Reds.
Foul tip, strike 3, so he comes all the way back from a 3-0 start. And he fans Bradley.
It's a pitch that Milton Bradley would probably not normally swing at, but because of the lack of activity and some of the strikes that he's had called on him recently, probably chased a pitch up out of the zone.
Comebacker base hit. That ball didn't hit Cordero, but jumping out of the way, fell down.
Rami sends it right back where it came from. Just missed the right foot of Cordero. He goes down.
I don't think he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars for that.
I don't think so. You know, we've seen a lot of pitchers already in the early going this year make kick saves on those balls back through the box. Rich Harden kicked one over to Ryan Theriot to get an out. Cordero didn't want anything to do with that line drive.
That had broken foot written all over it. Speaking of which, he had right foot surgery near the end of last season. One strike to Soto. Last 5 times he's been on the mound, he has notched a save. Lofted to center. Taveras barely has to move. 2 outs.
I mentioned for Cordero coming into this series, he had pitched 3 out of the last 4 days, including back-to-back outings where he threw over 30 pitches in each of those outings. Was not available in the ball game last night. Of course, the Reds didn't need their closer in the ball game last night, but right back out on the bump tonight with a 3-run lead.
Ryan Theriot lifts into center. It's Taveras, and that's it. So the Reds shut out the Cubs 3-0. Johnny Cueto is really